Hi, my name is Nordin. I am a Fedora Badges designer, and I'm part of the DEI team and the ambassador team. Um, I'm also a former FCAKE, um, and right now I'm looking for jobs. So if you know anything that would be a good fit for me, feel free to share. Um, and I'll pass it over to you, Emma.
Yes, so my name is Emma Kidney. I'm part of the Fedora Design Team and also the Community Design Team within the CPE department in Red Hat. Oh, Madeline made it.
Madeline.
Thank you for being so patient. Yeah, I'm going to be writing a strongly worded letter to Hoffman as a designer because I think having buttons being visible for everyone is just a pain in the butt. But I'm excited to be here with my lovely co-hosts, Emma and Marie.
Do you want to introduce yourself, Madeline?
I have been working with Fedora since 2020, and I was brought on with this project by Marie, and I'm just really excited because, I've been using Inkscape and Krita to do various things like Fedora wallpapers, and this sounded like a great opportunity to spread the open source creative love. So I hope you enjoy.
Awesome. Thanks for the intros. I guess I should also say I started working on badges in 2013. So I'm like almost to 10 years. It just makes me feel old. I'm going to take impressive over old for sure. Okay, cool. So today we're going to talk about the Creative Freedom Summit that we hosted in January. We're going to explain, what it's for, who it was for, what went well, what could be improved, and what's coming next. So here's our lovely Creative Freedom Summit logo, and let's get into it. So the Creative Freedom Summit is a virtual event focused on promoting open source tools, spreading knowledge about how to use them, and connecting creatives across the FOSS ecosystem. We're going to take a look at the accomplishments, like I said, and some of the shortcomings and potential changes. So when I first had the idea for this, it was at Nest 2022, and we had like a bunch of design talks. And I was like, we have enough stuff about design to run an entire event on its own. And when I first thought of it, I was thinking like Fedora design focused event. But then eventually, once I solicited volunteers and found people, which was not hard to do, to get behind like making an event like this, we kind of came together and talked about what we really wanted to do with the event, right? And what we wanted to accomplish out of it. And of course, we want new contributors and we want to work on Fedora design. Like, we're never going to not want those things. But we realized that what was more important to us was sharing information about free software and how awesome it is to use. So basically, our primary goals were to choose a range of creative tools and experts on open source creative software, and people who are creating careers around those tools. Basically, we wanted to capture those and make recordings so that it would be available for the future. And we wanted to promote it to a wide range of audiences and connect people across communities. So open source design, and FOSS focused content creators. So we were trying to hit all of these different communities. Our secondary goals were connecting people, hosting social sessions so that people could get to know us, how the Fedora Design Team uses those creative softwares so that we can kind of show off what we do and maybe create a path for people to contribute to Fedora design and see like, look how easy it is or hard it is. We do a range of work. And then basically, bring those people a little bit closer to Fedora, but the most important part of it was promoting free software. All right, next slide.
Okay, so what topics did the summit cover? So there's a lot of great open source tools covered. A lot of our favorites here: Penpot, Inkscape, Blender, Krita, GIMP, Kdenlive. We also covered accessibility and free software, which was actually very interesting. I found very interesting, which is free patterns for different types of crafts like sewing, knitting, things like that. Yeah. And then, and then we also had an amazing lineup of speakers. We had David Revi and Maureen Duffy, to name a few. And we held social hours to help involve the audience and build a sense of community. Some of these included a hack and craft, which was where we all worked on whatever craft project we were working on at that time and talked about open source, which was lovely. And of course, we played Pictionary as well. Yeah, and it wouldn't be possible without our sponsors and our platforms. So our sponsors then, Fedora, of course, and Red Hat. Very grateful to them. And our platforms were Element, Jitsi, and Peer2. But we'll go on to the actual retrospective then.
Yes. So let's look at the details because, you might not have been able to make it on those specific 3 days in January. So it happened in the beginning of the year, and we used Jitsi for the sessions and streamed them with PeerTube. So it's the same peering that we used for the Fedora Design Team meetings, and Element was implemented as the main chat room. And so, like I said, if you weren't there, recordings are available on the Creative Freedom Summit's PeerTube, and they'll soon be uploaded to the Fedora YouTube when editing is complete. And we have a lot of them. We also have a lot of people working to make sure that there's subtitles, and those who speak more than one language are also working on maybe making other subtitles in other languages, which is just so great about working with everyone in open source. And there was a badge. So just like I think some people were joking in the chat that there's going to be you found an invisible button at the Hop-In event badge. There was a badge for this, and it was designed by our designer Jess. And we had a badge because Summit is all about promoting Fedora and open source, and there's a lot of overlap between the communities. So we thought, why not? I think a lot of people will enjoy having this, and then looking back in a few years and being like, I got this for that. And so this is what the setup looked like. We had widgets added in the Element chat so that you could see the chat, the live, and then the notes that if you were a presenter, and all of this was free and open source software. And so looking back, how did the event go? I think we did really well because it was the first time that we ever did it, and you always want to promote an event as much as you can, but time escapes you. And so we had 18 speakers take part with an average of 50 viewers per session, which was great. We, I think, achieved our goal of what we expected. And we had more than 700 unique viewers spread out across 54 countries. And in the Element chat room, there was also 250 members. So.
Cool. So yeah, I think our goal was 100 people. We wanted to under promise, over deliver to ourselves. So it was really exciting to see how many people joined us and were stoked about this topic and this content. So Madeline just showed how we did the layout, right? We had Element, we had the Jitsi, and that streamed to both PeerTube and the Element channel, right? So it worked really well, but there were also some things that we can improve. Emma's going to talk a little bit about that. But because of that, we really wanted to run a post-event survey. We wanted to understand people's experience so that we can improve for next year. We definitely want to do this next year. It was a great event. So we ran a post-event survey. We sent it out to the attendees. It was a little late in the game, but now that we have the survey questions, we'll be ready to put that out. I just got a direct message. Like, beeps are happening. So we'll give the post-event survey like during the event, right? So people will probably get more responses next time around. So we began to meet like afterwards to, talk about these things. We developed the survey together as a team, but we learned some things. So basically, most of the people learned about the event from Mastodon and Twitter. And I think Mastodon, there was more people than Twitter. I think Twitter's kind of going downhill a little bit. So I think Mastodon was where most people heard about the event. About a third of the people used the Element desktop app, and 30% used the chat web app. So about 60% of the attendees used Matrix or Element somehow. And the rest basically watched it on PeerTube or replays later. 35% of attendees indicated they made connections with other creatives. So the chat part of the experience was pretty important if you're looking to make networking connections. So next slide, please. So what went well? Viewers loved the setup. If people were in Element, they were like in heaven. They were like, this is the best. I can just go over to my chat app and watch a conference like right here. All I have to do is join another channel. So people really loved that. They also loved that they were able to watch the replays immediately on PeerTube. Like as soon as we finished the session, it went up on PeerTube. We didn't have to click any buttons or do anything. It just automatically went there. People had a really good time. Like it was friendly. There was a strong sense of like community building. People were cordial. There was no code of conduct issues going on. So it was a very positive atmosphere. The other really nice thing was there was a lot of interaction between the speakers and the audience, right? So we hosted, like we took turns. The organizing team took turns hosting each session, right? So we basically came on at the beginning and the end. We introed the speakers. At the end, we came on and did Q&A. So we were able to like have a conversation going and be that bridge between the audience and the speakers. And people really enjoyed feeling connected in that way. We also got to see some really amazing work happen right in front of our eyes. I will say that as far as things to streaming like like fine art, digital fine art making, it was not like the 100% experience, right? It wasn't if someone was doing like a screen capture on their own time and like creating a tutorial. It was a streaming presentation. So I think that there could be maybe something to explore there about getting like a higher stream quality, because when you're in something like Krita where the buttons are just like tiny and there's like 100 of them, yeah, I think that wasn't ideal. But we did get to see some really awesome illustrators working in Krita, working in Blender. I think that lady on the top left side, that's like actually a Blender piece, and of course Inkscape, and people are talking about how they use free software to make things. So it was really cool to see, all of the awesome art that was being made with free software.
Okay, so what can we improve for next year and what didn't work? So live captioning and subtitles. So auto captions were not available during the live stream. So we needed to look into solutions. We wanted to accommodate as many people as possible and have no barriers to attending the summit. Maureen Duffy found out about this live captions tool. It's meant for the user watching the video locally, but has the potential to be streamed alongside OBS. to stream the captions. So we're going to have a look into that for next year. And when we were editing the videos after the event, we discovered a built-in tool in Kden Live for generating and placing subtitles in the videos. I know I have some experience using this. I think I edited 2 or 3 videos, and it's very intuitive and pretty accurate. So yeah, with these tools, we can hopefully enhance accessibility and make our content more inclusive next time around. Yeah, attendee guide for the conference. So during the conference, we used, as I said, Matrix's element chat, the live stream video, and an Etherpad was embedded into the public room. Some users were unfamiliar with the platform and they faced some issues. So I know some people found the issue that on Element's mobile app, the embedded video wasn't available. And then other people just didn't know how to use Matrix. And, you know, that's okay. That's not their fault that they're unfamiliar with this platform. So what we're planning on doing is creating a guide or maybe some documentation to the platforms used by the conference or the summit, and just kind of show people how to access these applications. So we're going to write these guides from a beginner perspective to make it open to everyone. And this guide as well will help enhance our accessibility for next year. So what's next? I believe this is over to Marie.
Yeah. So at the end of the event, people were like, this can't be the end. We want to continue doing this. We want to continue hanging out. You know, maybe we could do this, maybe we could do that. So people came up with all different ideas of how we could stay connected. Also, they were like, we're running this again next year, right? Like, you guys are going to do this. And we're like, of course, yes, we want to. So we took a break. There's a lot of other stuff going on. And then we got back together, like, I think 2 months ago, and said, hey, like, what could we do in between before we start running next year's event, which will probably be pretty soon at this point. And we decided to do an art challenge. You know, we have socials in Fedora a lot, and, you know, it's like kind of it's it's decently attended. We get like a handful of people, but we wanted something that would engage people a little bit more, right? So one of the ideas that had come up was an art challenge. So um, if somebody has the community blog post handy, that would be awesome. I'd love to share that community blog post.
I think Justin
But
just did.
awesome. I'm not looking at it. I'm looking at my speaker notes. So we're going to do an art challenge, and the theme of the art challenge is open source superheroes. So basically, you can use any type of free software, creative free software, to design, build, create, whatever term you like to use, to make an open source superhero. And I think that can mean a lot of different things, and it can really be anybody. So I know that me, Madeline, and Emma were just like talking about our ideas. We're pretty excited about it. And Madeline is going to showcase her progress, and we're excited to share that on our various Fedora Design socials that we have. We're going to keep an eye on a discussion thread on social media and see what people are creating. And at the end, we'll have like an ending social and take a look at the art. We have a badge to award to people who participate. So we're really excited about this art challenge. Okay, next slide.
So, what are our next steps during the art challenge? What are we going to be up to? So possibly we'll have a call for proposals depending on our speaker capacity and interest. We would love to receive proposals maybe 2 to 3 months prior to the event. There was a lot of interest in the audience to get involved and share their knowledge last year, so it would be nice to get involved that way. We'd love to keep group and interaction going throughout the year, kind of like what we're doing right now. This can bring more people into the community and maintain their interest, and maybe they'll be more interested in getting the running of the event. Like, we can always use more people to help run the event. We want to spread the word, participate in talks like this so we can get the word out. We expect everyone to talk to at least one of their friends today about Whether or not they'd be interested in joining, I'm just kidding. But it really does spread by the word. And planning is also a major part. So we're going to give ourselves more time to implement improvements, trials, and errors. And you can find us in the Matrix channel, with that hashtag channel, our website, and then also the Fedora Design Team is in the Matrix Element channel under the designfedoraproject.org. And yeah, so if you have any questions.
We do have questions.
Oh, good.
So I'll start with the first one, and here it is. Were there any surprises or things that the team did not expect while planning and running the event? Do either of you have things that you want to respond with? I have one thing. It's like a technical thing. The Jitsi streaming just randomly stopped at times.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Which never happened. Like we, Madeline and Mo run Fedora Design Team live sessions using that same Jitsi to PeerTube setup, and we've never had that problem. Yeah. So there might be some kind of limit on how long you can stream in Jitsi, but it, like the timing didn't like correlate. It was just, it seemed random, right? So we were like, and the stream stopped. I guess we're gonna go ahead and click that button again, and start it back up.
People were really great about letting us know, at least.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't.
It was a bit disruptive, and it was definitely unexpected. We also didn't expect to see as many people as we did. And that was a really cool surprise, that like there was over 250 people in the chat, like hanging out. I mean, not everyone types messages. A lot of people just want to observe, which is totally okay. But just having that many people there was a really cool surprise. Cool. So we only have 5 minutes left, so I'm going to go to the next question. Going from a hop-in event, this one we're in, to a matrix-powered event, do you have tips or gotchas on running an event on a fully FOSS stack? I have lots of opinions on this, but I'm going to let you two go ahead first.
I do have opinions. I feel like Marie's gonna say hers, and then I'm like, oh yeah, like I agree with that. But like, I think
I'm just very aware of Hopin and also this one, so I have opinions for sure.
Yeah, you see, I've never like ran an event on Hopin, so I don't know.
Okay, I'll go ahead then. So basically, this Element Jitsi PeerTube setup is best for a one-track event, right? It would be, I mean, I think FOSDEM used Element for theirs, for like their virtual event, right? So like they had all these different channels set up, and I mean, like it was a lot. Like I think that they had a lot going on. This is nice for like a small one-track event. Otherwise, you're looking into like a lot of complications, right? So like for example, Nest, I don't think would be like a good, if we were to run Nest again. I know we're doing Flock this year, but like if we were to run Nest again, like it wouldn't make sense necessarily to do it on the Element Jitsi PeerTube platform unless there was a lot more investment in running that like admin side of things for the open, like the FOSS stack. For a small event, it's nice. I will say that it's a bit more difficult to get analytics. Hopin has like a great dashboard for organizers where you have like how many people were in each session and like what countries they were from, and you know, like basically like you can look at a graph of like who's in the chat and how many chat messages were sent, and like there's just like a ton of information that Hopin gathers for you and just puts into reports. The other thing is like with Hopin, you have like they just have like a website builder basically for like your registration page. And we had someone create a website for us, like a volunteer. Thank you to Ryan Gorley for creating a website for us. But that's like a lot of work, right? So I just think that there's more work that goes into using an alpha stack, which I guess is unsurprising, but we had like more control over things, right? Like we didn't have ghost buttons. So that's my thought on that. The next question, were there any discussions about the interoperability between open source tools?
I have to Google what that word meant.
I feel like there must have been in the talk, like, because I know that there was a grease pencil presentation, like part in a Blender talk. And I think at some point people, whether that was like in socials, we were talking about whether or not you like can import SVGs from like Inkscape into Blender and then kind of like go from there. But I think that that is like a great topic that we can kind of lean into for next year. I guess
Roland,
like,
would you like to give a talk next year?
and I guess like it depends on what you're thinking about, like, because then using like Kden Live to record and edit your videos, but like maybe you're showing off your other open source like tools. It's like it's kind of working together there in the meta.
Cool. All right. The last question that's in the chat right now, and I think we're about to go into a break, so it's probably okay that we're going a minute over. What's a fun, nice memory from the event for each of you?
I think the talk on software was kind of eye-opening to me because I like to crochet in my free time, and just I don't know, like how FOSS and my hobby can kind of link up. Kind of just like something just clicked in my head, and I was like, "Oh, that makes so much sense." But yeah, I found that really interesting, and yeah, it's a thing I'd like to delve into further. And I know for the likes of Flock, I need to get back to it actually, but I tried to, or I'm doing a crochet pattern for color so people can make their own little colors. And
Have you
that be like
connected with Alexandra?
Alexandra? No.
Fedora? Okay, well, you should because
Okay.
she is working on one for like a panda, like a Fedora panda. And I was thinking how cute would it be if we had like little Fedora t-shirts for the little stuffies.
Oh, that'd be so cute.
I know. My God. I can't wait to see your color. Okay, trying to think of what my favorite. I really did like the socials. I think that was a lot of fun, and it was really nice to meet like a diverse crowd of people. Like, I mean, I think these types of events, you always meet people that you wouldn't necessarily expect, like in channels and stuff like that. But being able to be on camera with them was really cool. Um, I really liked seeing like the impressive work that people were doing with free software. Like I'm an Inkscape person. I use Inkscape. That's like my main jam. So going to this event, watching multiple people use Krita, I went out and I got a tablet for myself and I've started to teach myself Krita with the tablet because that was really inspiring to me.
Yeah, I just like the Blender talks because I don't know how to use it.
Did you share a memory, Madeline, or did you want to?
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I
Oh,
can.
sorry.
Did I miss it?
No. I said that I liked the Blender talks because I felt like they were really fascinating because I don't know what to do.
Gotcha. All right. Well, any more questions? Maybe not. Bipple says, book war, Alexandra uses pandas to analyze community surveys. She has a whole team of pandas, I guess. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming to our presentation. We're excited to share. If you're interested in being a part of this community, um, please do join our channel on Element Matrix. If one of you could add in a link for that right now, I could dig it up here in a minute, but feel free to join that channel. Feel free to join in the art challenge that's happening in June. It's through June 1st through 30th. If you want to get event organizing experience, or you want to design for the event, or you want to do communications for the event, or any of these things like social media, we would love to have more people participate. The more people we can have in organizing the event, the better it can be. Um, so, always welcoming new people into the community, the creative freedom community, or as organizers. So, we have someone who's interested in helping with docs and guides. So, that's awesome. Fionn, we'd love to have you. So, thanks again, everybody, and I'll see you online.